Today we'll be talking about the third door. It's actually one of the most interesting analogies I've ever heard, comparing success to getting into a nightclub. And now I know you're probably thinking, hold on, they're two relatively obscure concepts. How do they pair together? But that's what we're going to be unpacking today, and it is one that has genuine implications for each and every one of our lives. And so the third door story starts with Alex Banayan. He's an 18-year-old in his freshman year, first year of college, doing pre-med. He's lying there staring up at the roof, describing feeling misaligned with his path. He was interested in studying and understanding how some of the top performers in the world succeeded, such as Bill Gates, who was the first person he described, but people like Steve Wozniak, Larry King, Steven Spielberg, Jessica Alba, and Lady Gaga. And he realized there wasn't really a book out there that gave that distinct overview about how people succeed, and often despite having maybe not the pre-required background or experience set. And so Alex Banayan thought to himself, okay, this book doesn't exist yet, why don't I just write it myself? And really the book then chronicles the next 7 years of his journey, and it is quite incredible. He meets all of the people that we've outlined before, including others like Maya Angelou, Tim Ferriss, from athletes to business people and everything in between. And really the story is about uncovering how they're able to success, tying between and together those threads, but then also the insights that he was able to learn along that journey, because it's not easy. Just to give you a bit of a context about how he was able to start this journey and the ingenuity that it really involved. He realized that he didn't have the funds. He was obviously at college at the time. And so he thought to himself, this was just before his finals exams for the period, that he actually needs to raise the funds. He realized that the price was right, that good old game show was coming up over the next period. And so as a result of that, he went on to The Price is Right. He learned how to hack The Price is Right. And so he was able to get on as a contestant. He ended up winning a boat, which he was able to sell to fund his journey. Further to that as well, he managed to ask not 1, 2, 3, but 4 questions at Warren Buffett's annual investor conference. If you know the numbers there, if you do get there, it's a 1 in 1,000 chance to be able to actually ask those questions. And so then that brings us to the third door analogy. Alex uses the 3 different doors or ways that we're able to obtain success, using that backdrop of a nightclub as a way to explain them. For that first door, that's the conventional way. It's 1 in, 1 out. There's a big line. Obviously 99% of the people are trying to get through that door. It can be difficult. You might have to wait your turn, and it could take a long time to get through that. While on the second door, it's through the VIP entrance. So potentially you know someone there, you're wealthy, you've got the connections and the network to facilitate your entry in there. But he says if you're not born into it, and if you didn't want to wait your turn, how else are we able to engineer success? And he mentions that that's through that third door. So perhaps you have to go around the back door. Maybe you have to jump up to a bin, see if there's a window open, see if you're able to get through in any which way. It's off the beaten path, you have to think outside of the box. But he describes the fact that each and every one of the individuals that he interviewed throughout the process for the book itself, and in fact, Alex himself personified this through the whole story, how he was able to gain these interviews, speak to people who potentially would have been considered off limits. He was able to do this by going through the third door each and every time. Throughout the story, we're able to see this, including examples of Alex chasing down Larry King in a grocery store, or waiting 30 minutes in a bathroom to speak to Tim Ferriss. But of course, there are implications for each and every one of our lives as well, whether it's considering projects or through our work ventures or studies. Of course, the conventional paths say that you may have to wait X, Y, Z amount of time to be able to get that promotion. Or perhaps you have to study that degree for 4, 5, 6 years to be able to become qualified for those roles. But there are always alternatives. There's always ways to think outside of the box. And I'd love to know your thoughts on them. So drop in a comment, let us know if the third door is a concept that you've heard before and if it's one that you've tried to go down, or if there's any ideas for how you can think about third doors could open up other opportunities in your life. And then when bringing them to a market type of discussion as well, of course we know that the conventional pathway on the markets is being able to use all of the different resources that we have available, whether it's the investor presentations, the conference calls, the CEO interviews, financial statements. That's the standard path, and that's what the majority of people are using. But of course, if you're seeking informational alpha, it's thinking about those different opportunities. What are the different information and data sources that you can have that perhaps others aren't using? Is there different sets of information that you're able to draw together and see some correlations and unpack those that other people might be missing? I just wanted to share one of my favorite quotes from the books from Alex, and it really helps to personify the mindset and the transformation that he was able to experience throughout the process. And it's just definitely something that's applicable to each and every one of our lives as well. And so the quote simply states, "I'd always seen success and failure as opposites. However, now I see that they're simply different results of the same thing, trying. From that day on, I swore that I would be unattached to success and unattached to failing, and addicted to continuing to pursue trying. It's a fascinating one. That's all we can really do, is to continue to try give things a go, to step outside, think outside of the box, and to see where we can find the opportunities to enter the third door. A big thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the video. For now, stay well and happy investing.